Morning, this is Randy Coffey. These are my chronicles. This is the first that I'm going to show you. This is the beginning of my barn project. What was contained in this open space that you're seeing is a little barn, 8 by 12 with 4-foot sidewalls. And it's inadequate. Every 4-foot sidewall of the barn is inadequate. You can't lean anything against it. You lose space on the sides. If you build lofts, they're useless because you can't get them high enough. And of course, you can't walk underneath a 4-foot loft. So my project will be a 12 by 16 barn that will have 7.5-foot sidewalls built on a 6-inch treated lumber and treated sheathing base put on posts. Now I've chosen posts and a treated base in lieu of cement for the simple reason that the cement is very expensive. If I put this particular barn on skids or sliders or 4x4s, it doesn't keep its balance. If I put it on posts, I can keep it level, and it should stay level, especially if I cement the posts in, which I'm going to do. And if I do ever want to move the barn, all I have to do is take a chainsaw, cut the posts, and it's slide 4x4s underneath it or such, and it becomes mobile at that point. But otherwise it has a foundation and does not move in the ground. So that's the reason I'm choosing to do it that way. The project's going to begin with the removal of these bushes, perhaps those pine trees and this bush, of course, and I have to move these rocks, and that's my first step, and that's day one today. The barn, as I said, will be 12 by 16. That's because the local ordinance here allows for a maximum of 200 square feet without having to have a permit. That can be with any foundation here locally. And before you begin any project like this, I would suggest that you always contact local officials, the local government officials, planning officials, building officials, and make sure what you can build without any problems and what's necessary for you if you want to accomplish that. This was my last project, which was building this border fence and interior fence in our backyard. That was my June project in the middle of the record heat for June and July. I'd taken out a chain link fence which was improperly installed by alleged professionals and exchanged it with my own work here in this fence. This fence project, I'm guessing, was approximately $2,000 project. The border fence was put up last fall, and the fence in between here was put up in the space of a few days, working each night after work and on a couple days when I had some days off. The hardest part of this, of course, is digging the post holes, and that'll be the hardest part of the barn project over here. That and taking down these bushes, because these bushes are very prickly and they're difficult to work around, so that's going to make the job a little bit harder. I'll talk with you as the project progresses and take pictures. The next step after removing these bushes is to stake out the area, do that properly, counter measure it from corner to corner to make sure that it's square, and then start digging post holes. Alright, this is the evening after a day's work. Spent the day clearing these bushes out. As it was this morning, it's still raining. As you can see, there's a stump there where there was a bush, a stump there where there was a bush, and 2 stumps there where there were bushes. Now, the next thing for tomorrow, I have dug 2 holes, you can see, and that will be the start of the 12-foot span for the barn. I will take and cross in the middle. We'll run 20 feet from that mark and 20 feet from that mark, and they should cross in the middle at 10, and that'll tell me where the square is for that, because 3 plus 4 equals 5 on a triangle, and we are 4 times that. We are 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 4 is 16, and the span would be 5, and 4 times 5 would be 20. So from corner to corner will be 20 feet on a diagonal or triangle, on an isosceles triangle, and they will meet in the middle at 10 feet. So I'll take, once I get 2 posts in, I'll take and meet in the middle at 10 feet where the 10 feet crosses, I'll be able to figure out where these holes are, and that's what I'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow's plan is to be able to get these posts in, get the sidewalls in, and to get those level so that we can begin the actual framing and structure. On top of the structure, there will be 9 at 2 foot space joists on 2x6s. I'll have to move these rocks, of course. It took me approximately 5 hours to clear out the bushes and drive those to a place to dump them. A friend of mine let me dump those there, very nice guy. And that's the plan. Then once that's on, there'll be Visqueen that goes across the joist to seal it off from the ground because it's treated lumber, and then Visqueen, and then 3/4 inch OSB tongue and groove will be the layer across there, and from there we'll build on top of that the framing for the barn itself. The barn itself will be 7 foot 6 inches tall to the sidewalls, and with the 6 inches on the side, the 3/4 inch plus the 5 1/4 for the 2x6s, that will make it exactly 8 feet in the span on the panels for this, for the side. And then we'll have a 3-inch overhang on the sides, and that's the plan. So tomorrow the plan is to get the decking lumber in, and so that we can on Monday start framing up. This is day 3 of the project. Take you out here, show you where we've gotten. The posts are in, which was a very hard job getting it in, especially with the roots from all of these bushes being there. Very difficult. Had to get down below the freeze line on the outside post to make sure it holds the weight. The flooring is reinforced by a bunch of the stones that were laying around here. I laid them underneath just to add support underneath in the joist. It's very solid at this point. Of course, it doesn't have any weight on it. One of the things we discovered, though, is troublesome to me. This base I got exactly square. It is 12 by 16 exactly. No doubt about it. It's perfect square. Bought OSB board, and this board was supposed to be 4 by 8. So we started laying it on there, and I made the mistake of not measuring it. It's actually 47.5 inches instead of 48 inches. The extra ½ inch must include the tongue, which is on a tongue and groove. So it's not really 8-foot sheets. So if you look here, you'll see I came up short. Underneath all of the flooring, I have put Visqueen to make a vapor barrier and to keep the things out. And I have also put on top of it, in case it rains while we build, Visqueen to keep the OSB from flaking. It's 3/4 inch OSB. Again, this is on a post. It's perfectly level. I did a fine job with that. The only thing I screwed up on was that I did not stop and think that the board would be, when they told me it was 4 by 8, actually 47.5 by 8. So things are screwed up. I'll have to put a little row on that. The next step, if it doesn't rain, and you can see it's pretty cloudy out, is to get the framing lumber and start framing this, get the walls up, and then start putting on the siding. And that's it for today. This is the evening of day 2 or 3. I think this is day 3 actually, but we've had rain all day, or sprinkles. Nothing big, just sprinkles of rain. And today we've been working on the framing. We've got a little bit of problem. We've got a little bit of sag here underneath, right underneath there. Don't know what's caused that. I think I didn't get a good reinforcement. You can see we framed everything. Tomorrow the trusses go up on the top to start the barn roof itself, and that'll go up at an angle of just about 70%, I think. As you can see, we've got I gotta fix this, excuse me. As you can see, we've got the framing done for the first level. There's where the doors will be. And if it doesn't rain tomorrow, we'll put the siding up, do the trusses, have that all ready. As you can see, again, we've got it all framed. That's where the trusses go. We've got to cut some trees back though. Got to do that. Got to cut some tree tree branches back to get this ready. Now this will be the front door. I'm walking out of it. This will be the front door though. I'm walking towards the opposite way. This will be the front door, and then we'll go up. This is 8 feet from the bottom, the very bottom. It's 8 feet up to the top where the brace is that you're seeing. And with that 8 feet, we'll put a full sheet of siding. These will be double doors here. That's a 48-inch opening. And then on top of this, again, is going to be a full area. It goes up nearly 6 feet on the top here. And that will be a loft area on this top. So tomorrow, the idea is to get the trusses up, and it'll be get the siding on if we got time, or at least get the siding loaded up and get it here. One problem we've got is right here. We've got a twisted 2x4, and I've got to take a lag bolt, tie it in, and you can barely see it there, but you can see it sticks up. Got to take a lag bolt, see where I'm pointing, my finger comes in here, kinda. Hey, there's my finger. That lag bolt sticks up. I've got to take that and lag it in because that 2x4 is so twisted that you can't get that in. And we've got to move it down about 1/4 of an inch, and that should do it. So I may have to lag that in. And then we'll see you tomorrow morning. Well, it's another day of work. Today we put up some siding and did some other work to correct some things. Cut the door, and you can see there, we now at least have a building. The siding is up, and it's getting closer. There's somebody in their fancy car. So we'll take a look around in here, see what's going on, show you what happened. First of all, these are the starts of the trusses to be built up, and we'll have those all finished tomorrow, and the trusses should go up at least in part tomorrow. I'm going to put those boards onto the end of these boards right here, and then they'll become the roof. You can see the pile there. These boards are there, they'll come down. They're there to square the building while we put up the siding. And this is the barn as it exists right now. So I've hung those things up there so we have a place to put our tools while we worked. These are the gussets to go on the side of the trusses to hold them together and to give them strength. And then again, we've got those there. And then hopefully tomorrow, if it doesn't rain, and it's supposed to rain, we'll be working on this now. Give you a better view. This is what we were looking at before, the fence that I talked about. And then the barn is here, top and bottom. We put a header in. Had to fix the top. It was bad. Had a board too short. Spent a lot of time goofing around at Menards. Spent a lot of time goofing around at Menards on this whole project. And we'll get the roof on, get it fixed, and then the last thing to do really is to put the doors on and trim it out. And hopefully I'll have some Menards rebates from where we bought all these things. Some Menards rebates to pay for the trim and to get stuff done. Now I think the barn will look a lot different when we get the trusses up. It'll look like a barn. That'll be the difference. It'll look like a barn. So tomorrow morning we start again, and that's the story. Well, it's quitting time on Friday. I got to get ready for the football game, and I thought I'd give you a look around at what we've done last couple of days. Start of the trusses are up. Got each end. Got things closed in. All the trusses are built. Walls are coming in. We've got floor joists in the ceiling. I don't know if you're able to see that. I hope you can. Floor joist started. That's just a loose fit so that we can have something to crawl around on when we get up to put the rest of the trusses on. You can see those are still here, but we needed something to be able to step on so we don't have to go up there in a million miles in the air to put on these trusses. You can see we braced the trusses with 2x4s to hold them in place until we get the rest on. Then we'll run a cord between the peaks, make sure that they measure up and that every angle's the same as much as possible, and everything runs from these corners one to the other. We'll just run a string so we know that. And again, these 2x4s hold up that end till it's done. We've mounted floor joists in the attic of the building. We've got yet to build the doors and to put those trusses up, and then we can start on the roof. Maybe by Sunday afternoon I can start working on the roof, because I need to get it under roof as soon as possible. And then we can work more gradually on the other things that come along. But getting a roof on it's probably the most important thing. The debate right now is whether that should be a metal roof or a conventional roof. If it's a conventional roof, we need to go with the brown shakes, kind of like we've got on the house, since the barn itself is like that. You can see we started the joists on, or excuse me, not the joist, but the framing on the truss that's there, which would be the west side. Tomorrow we've got to go to Lowe's. Hopefully I got gift cards so I can buy roofing and such. And then we got to get busy, get the trusses up and get going. Okay, that's today's report. Well, it's getting to be evening on Saturday night. We were able to get the trusses up today. Floors in like we had yesterday. And tomorrow we'll try to get these side walls in that are absent. I was able to clean up some of the mess and get some things hung up inside so we can get some of the things out of the garage. Next step is to put, as I said, the side walls in. And I'm waiting on gift cards from Lowe's to get the rest of the roofing done. So that will soon be there. So tomorrow I'll put the side walls up, probably build the doors, get those together so that we have that, and start building on those kinds of things. I got to put a drip rail in on this edge and the other edge, so that the siding from one to the other doesn't have water coming down the side there. I have to take down the edges, and then the only thing left to do is to put up the sheathing, put up the felt paper and the roof, and then trim it out. See you tomorrow. It's now the next weekend. Didn't get many days to work this week. So I worked on the barn Saturday after we went to see a baby, and Sunday, today. Here's what's going on with it. If I can get through the gate. Can't get my gate open. There, it came open. Okay. And you can see I got the door trimmed out. Should be able to get the door up real soon. We got the end caps done, but I ran out of, I got vents up. Ran out of siding. Had a controversy there. It took 2 hours at Menards, or an hour and a half or something like that, to deal with those guys, because they wanted to give me the wrong stuff, different what I had before. And you can see that the barn's on both ends now. Got a vent on each end, so it's all set. Over these edges will be a trim, a white trim piece. The next thing to go, that's what goes on there. The inside is here. We're waiting for rain tonight, so that's the problem. When this is done, I will redo the roofing here, not the roofing, but the trusses, the floor on the second floor. There's Abraham doing his job. But again, you can see these end caps are done. So the next thing to do is start putting, once I get the two ends of each end of the barn done, the next thing to do is start putting the purlings on, make sure that the trusses are square, and start put the purlings on. And then by this weekend, next weekend, the siding is supposed to be here, not siding, but the roofing is supposed to be here, metal roofing at Menards, and so we're waiting to see. And of course, by then, hopefully the door will be done. And then the only thing left after that is the ramp to get in. That'll be it. So this will probably take me about 2 weeks yet, and then I can organize inside.